Hello everyone, welcome to the video. In this video, I want to talk about what you can do if your family or friends are either dismissing your problems or they're really belittling the fact that you have DPDR. And it can be a really tricky place because we go to our friends and family because we want advice, we need support from them, we want to be able to feel like we can talk about our problems. And of course, if they turn around and say something like, oh, it's just in your head, or just get over it, or whatever other unhelpful things they say, it can really cut deep. And you're like, well, what do I do about that? So in this video, I'm going to talk about what you can do about that, how you can effectively talk to your family and friends to make sure you get the support you need, and potentially what you can do as well if they're not really helping, if they are just being dismissive. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name's Dan, and I help people overcome their anxious thinking and their bad DPDR habits so they can get rid of their DPDR and live a life DPDR free, fully connected to themselves and to life. There's a couple of difficulties when it comes to talking to your family or friends about your DPDR, because either you might not be fully able to explain exactly what you're going through, or they might understand what you're going through, but they might not know how to actually respond to that. You've had this thing for a long time and you don't quite know what to do, but you still want to move on from this. Well, let's get into some of the things your family and friends say and some of the things you can say in response to that if what they're saying isn't quite so helpful. Let's look at some unhelpful things your family and friends say. And it's worth noting that the responses that I'm going to suggest that you give here are very open-ended, they're very sort of mature, they're very honest, and you're going to get the best sort of interaction and response with whoever you're talking to by saying these types of things. Stupid statement. It's just in your head. This statement hurts because it implies you have a choice with how you're feeling right now. And if you could see the real world, it'd all be fine. A good response: yes, I do feel XYZ. I do feel disconnected. I do feel flat, emotionless, whatever it is. But you saying that makes me feel like you're dismissing what I'm going through because maybe you don't fully understand. Can I explain it a bit more to you? So obviously, if somebody says to you, it's just in your head, the immediate response you might have is complete and utter shutdown, or to get all defensive and say, well, it's not in my head. This is how I feel. So it's important to give a response here that sort of acknowledges what they're saying, but leaves the door open for communication. Stupid statement. Just get over it. I really hate it when people say this. By far the worst thing to say to somebody. It shows that the listener has no interest in helping or doesn't know what else to say. A good response to this is, I know what you mean by that, and I would if I could. Are you saying that because you don't know how to help me, or you just think I'm making it up? For somebody to say to you, just get over it, some of the immediate responses you could come back with, well, you can be all sarcastic. Well, can you suggest how I just get over that? Or you could really break down and start feeling really unconfident and say, well, I don't know how to get over it. How do I do that? You do have to realize that if you have been suffering from DPDR a long time and you do sort of keep talking about it to your whoever it is, and they perhaps see that you're making no progress, or perhaps you're not doing everything you can to overcome it, they might get frustrated and they might get angry and they might be sick of hearing about it. And they might just say, look, just get over it. All right, move on already. Don't take this as a reflection on you. Take it as a reflection of what they're going through in their own life at the moment. And that's why it's important to sort of be open and honest about how you're feeling, and above all, be calm about it. More unhelpful things that family and friends say. Stupid statement. You've had this for a long time now. Shouldn't you try and move on? This might come from a place of caring, but it implies they're tired of hearing about it, and so you might feel more alone. A good response is, I know and I want to move on, but I'm unsure how. Can I talk about my options with you? Stupid statement. My friend, sister, brother got over this quite quickly. Why don't you just do XYZ, which is what they did? This comes from a place of caring, but what works for some people might not work for others. A good response to this is, I appreciate you suggesting that advice, and I'll do my best to see if it works for me too. But if it doesn't help, can we talk about some other things that might help? And is it okay to check in with you with how I'm going? See here, it's all about communication. It's about staying calm, cool, calm and collected. Because as soon as you start to say either dismissive things, aggressive things, judgmental things back to them, all it's going to do is put them in a defensive mode, you in a defensive mode. And then instead of listening to each other, you're actually going to just start talking at each other. So let's have a really quick look at some of the things you should not ever say to people if they're saying these type of things to you, and why you shouldn't say them. Response is, you should avoid giving. How do you suggest I get over this? It's belittling them. I don't care what you think. That's being dismissive. Obviously, I'm trying to move on. Dismissive. I don't care what your sister, brother, friend did because that won't work for me. Being dismissive again. You've never had this, so you don't understand. That's being judgmental. Great, thanks. That advice really helped. Being sarcastic. Any type of sarcastic, judgmental, dismissive, or belittling comment will just cause the conversation to collapse into a tit-for-tat fight. Because instead of listening to each other, you'll be talking at each other, trying to defend your own ego. I do acknowledge that some of the things that people might say to you might not be that helpful at all. But can you see how these responses, if you were to give them, are just going to be equally as unhelpful? And it's not about people trying to take the high road or the low road or anything like that. It's just about being honest and open and having that conversation, because ultimately that's what you want, right? It's you want to chat to whoever it is to try and get some help, to try and overcome this stuff. So this is the best way that you're going to be able to do that. Ultimately, your family are there to try and help you through this and to be there for you whenever you need them. But if it does get to a point where they're saying stuff like, just move on, just get over it, just it's all in your head, I'm tired of hearing about this, why can't you just do something about it, get over it, whatever it is, then you've actually now got to really question, well, can I actually rely on this person anymore? Do I even want to talk to this person to try and get advice? Because if they're saying things like that to you, then it's really going to sort of make you feel that you can't ask for advice and you can't ask for help from people who are actually willing to help you and willing to listen to you. It's brutal. Sometimes you've got to be harsh. You've got to get that knife and cut them out of your life in regards to asking for help, because you need to surround yourself by people that are going to listen to you, that are going to help you, that aren't going to be a toxic environment for you, that aren't going to try and prolong the symptoms or just dismiss your DPDR as just something which is just in your head. None of that stuff is going to help. And the quicker you can eliminate that toxicity out of your life, then the better chance you're going to give yourself of recovering, and also the quicker chance you're going to have of recovering too. With this video, I hope you've learned a little bit about what to say, what not to say, and what to do if your family and friends aren't really helping you anymore, and also to think about that point of where you should cut them off. And I would love to hear about how you're going with your DPDR, so leave a comment. And until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye.